Hey, welcome everybody to Villains and Creeps. This is our best action romance movie podcast. With me, I have Dark Flowers. I also have Stealthy and Crispy, and of course the mob. What we're going to do, we have each picked two movies. We're going to run them down that way. We're going to give them a synopsis. And we each picked a joint movie, which we'll do at the end. We'll have a total of 10 movies. We could have done way more, but, just for loud time, it's insanity. We only picked 10 because this could have been a 5-hour long podcast. And just for time's sake, we just picked 10. These movies might necessarily not been ones you picked, but these are just ones of probably our favorites, or, just ones that we think are the best. For the rules, we'll give a brief synopsis of each movie. Each of us will add our thoughts and rate the movie 1 through 5. We will then add up all our totals of 4 and divide by 4, where we'll get our final score. And tiebreakers, did we kind of determine that? We'll figure it out. So, to get started, unzip your pants, oil up, and add a quarter to your vibrating bed as we dive in. First movie is Romeo and Juliet, and that is by Crispy.
Tale as old as time. We know it's Shakespeare. Feuding families, they fall in love with each other, have to keep it a secret. One takes poison, the other one stabs themselves in the heart. 1996, Leonardo DiCaprio.
I think right before he took off.
Yeah.
What's your breakdown and thoughts on the movie, Crispy?
Overall, I'm an English nerd, so for me, it's seeing the modern day take with the Shakespearean language that kind of throws me through the loop. But I still give it a 4, just because it's one of those movies. It's a classic. You can really kind of start to see modern day Shakespeare come to life, even with the old English Shakespearean language.
Were you a drama kid growing up?
No, I was a band nerd.
Okay.
This one, I'm team action, just because in Shakespearean times, Romeo and Juliet, they're like 13 and 15, so modern day, not so much realistic romance. If I'm gonna axe myself off if they really themselves.
13 and 15-year-olds have probably themselves over romance, or what they think is romance anyway.
Yeah, I think that's just been a renowned thing over the years. Like teenage, over dramatization.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think too, if we look at the history of Shakespearean times, most people didn't live past the age of 25. So
yeah, so desperation of love was really an important thing.
Real.
The next one is Red or Green.
Red flag. They're a red flag couple.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything that shouldn't be a red flag is a red flag.
What's the most unrealistic part of the movie?
Definitely Juliet taking the poison and Romeo not realizing it was poison and just killing himself.
Yeah.
Without explosions, would the movie work?
There were no explosions in this movie unless we're
talking without the action.
Without the action.
Yeah, no, this movie would fall flat.
What was your final score again?
4.
Okay, I'll go next. Oh, man. The dialogue to this movie is tough on the brain, and the worst part to get through, besides the over dramatization of the action, where, man, it's just, not only is the dialogue bad, but the acting is just overacted, and it's like, oh my god. It's like, it was a tough movie to get through. But I think, in perspective, if it was to be a little bit darker and they were to have regular dialogue, but it was just based on the play, it would have been great. It didn't need to be that overacted. I think it was just made for, like, someone just thought in the 90s, like, drama kids need a movie, so this is it. And that's what they specifically based it upon. For
team action or team romance?
It's neither for me. The action and the romance were flat just because of the dialogue and the overacting. It's like I wanted both of them to end. Thank you. And for
Like, thank you for the wishes come true. They both died.
yeah, thank you for the ending. That was the best part of I clapped at the end. And I've never seen this movie before, by the way. Like most of these movies I've never seen, so it was a good journey into the podcast. So, red or green, I picked red. It wouldn't have realistically lasted. So, most unreal, the whole goddamn movie. I mean, no one acts like this in real life. No one's going to go into song and dance and shoot out in front of the gas station. No. So, without
Yeah.
the fireworks, it's just not going to work. Not a love that's functional. I gave it a 1.
One. Okay.
Yes.
To reiterate your point, yeah, it's a movie strictly made for drama nerds in a way. If it was something where you would have added modern dialogue into the movie and just told the story of Romeo and Juliet as a modern movie,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it probably would have done really well. But the fact that they had a set in modern times with Shakespearean language is what kind of kills you, because it's like there's modern things going around. There's modern stuff in the movie, but you're speaking with that over dramatized action and everything, like, or speak. So dialogue is a big thing, and the overacting part is just, I think that's just one of those deals where it's just Shakespeare.
Some things just become a banana taped to a wall, and this is it.
Yeah, try not to.
Yeah, I'm not trying to knock you, Crispy, too hard. It's just
Oh no.
sorry.
I fully knew. I went in with like this is gonna get horrible ratings.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, I would love to watch like a version of Macbeth or like The Merchant of Venice or something in a modern take, the way it was. But I don't think I could do any other movie where it's a modern era set in the language back then. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? Just go to a reading of it or go to the play. Get some culture in my life and actually watch the play.
Yes.
Better.
So on your bonus?
Bonus is the romance was like about the only thing that was there, because it's the romance of Romeo and Juliet. It's
Shooting of the family.
Beauty in the Family. There's hardly any action, to be honest. So I'd say romance would win on that one, at least, just because it's the time of story of two people falling in love and then knowing themselves because they can't be together.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it's just it irritates me every time I think about that. Red flag, green flag couples. Yeah, definitely a red flag couple. Come on. Horribly unrealistic movie, obviously. I mean, yeah. Fights in the gas station with guns and the speaking of Shakespeare. Now, I would pay to see that if I had a couple rival gangs like Crips and Bloods dueling out with each other, speaking in Shakespearean language. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. While hiding behind a tire while you watch.
Yes. Sit there. Oh, God. Oh, my God, they're shooting at each other. Is that Shakespeare?
And would the movie work without explosives?
Movie didn't work anyway, so it doesn't really matter. The explosions wouldn't have helped this movie.
And what was your final score?
My final score, I gave it a 3, but it's because of the romance, because of the original story of Romeo and Juliet. As far as romance is concerned, it'd probably be, it gives it credence, but as far as the take in a modern era, it kind of fell flat.
Dark Flowers?
I have a little bit different perspective on this one than all of you do. First of all, I watched this movie when it first came out, and I remembered from back then, I don't want to say how long ago it was, but I was like, I don't think I like that movie at all. Like, I had no desire to watch it again, but I was like, I'm going to go into it with an open mind. So I did, and I watched it, and it was yet again hard to sit through just because I feel like the action actually took away from the story. We all know the story of Romeo and Juliet and what it is, and so the action and the explosions and the shooting at each other up in front of the gas station, it completely overshadowed the romance of the movie. So that's why it was so hard for me. I mean, all the reasons you guys have talked about, but it's really because you lost the romance in the movie because they were all too busy running around blowing each other up. As far as team romance or team action, I definitely went romance. The actual story of Romeo and Juliet is actually a really good story. So I went team romance. I actually said it could have been a green flag romance, and I did because, yeah, they were 13 and 15, but back then that was completely acceptable. And they truly did love each other to the point where they didn't think they had any other options but this. And so, as far as it being a true love and not just a whim, or they think they fell in love because of the adrenaline of the action, like, I don't think that's the case. So, I gave them a green flag just because I felt like it was actually true love to them. The entire movie is completely unrealistic. So, there wasn't any one part, the huge gold guns maybe was the most unrealistic. I don't know. And I actually think it would have been a million times better without the action, because then we would have gotten back to the actual story of Romeo and Juliet, which is a pretty cool story. So I looked at it in a little bit different perspective. I also gave it a 1 because it was painful to sit through the whole time, because it's not my kind of movie at all. Like, I'm like with Gerald. If I want to go see Shakespeare, I'm just gonna go see the play. I'll get a little culture in my life. It was, and I got what they were trying to do. They were trying to bring culture to the masses by making it updated and putting, popular actors and stuff in it, but it was hard.
What was your score?
I gave it a 1.
Okay.
So, grand total for this movie is a 2.5. When I did all my little math calculations in the background.
Thank you for math, and Gerald, as always.
I try.
The next movie?
Point Break. Basic overall gist of this movie is that there's a cop. He goes undercover as a surfer to try and catch bank robbers. He falls in love with the girl that he uses to get in with the group, and basically the fallout from that as the story unfolds. So, just a quick overview. I've always enjoyed this movie. I think when it came out, though, like, this again was one of those where Keanu Reeves was really stepping into, the beginning of his popularity. I enjoyed Patrick Swayze. The movie itself, there's funny parts. Like, most of the time, I don't like a movie where there's not a single bit of it that you can at least laugh at. And I don't even know if it was supposed to be funny, but just to me, it was funny. So I thought it was there. So I like the movie. I did give it an overall score of 4. It's not my favorite movie of all time, but it's definitely one that I've watched on purpose multiple times. So I just rated it pretty high. As far as the bonus features, I did go team action. I definitely think the action is better than the romance in this one. I actually gave the romance a red flag warning because I just don't feel like anything that stems from a lie is probably ever going to last. I know in the end, whatever, but it just doesn't seem there. Overall, the movie could have been realistic. I mean, you can go undercover, you can form relationships with these people. I mean, I think I've watched a bunch of documentaries that say that that's part of the hard part about undercover work, is that you do end up developing these real feelings with these people. And then would this movie go without the action? Definitely not. The romance didn't have enough oomph to carry it if you didn't have the extra parts of it. So,
Well, I hated this movie.
Wait a second. What did you give it again? Sorry.
4.
I gave it a 4.
Okay, I didn't hear. Sorry. Go ahead, Crispy.
This is up there with Roadhouse and being one of Swayze's worst movies. I don't know. There's realistic elements to it. It was more of a bromance than a romance. Like, I definitely saw the romance, but there was more of the bromance between the two characters. Definitely a red flag romance because of the lie. If there was no action in this movie, it would definitely fall flat. There would be no movie without the action in this movie. What did I give it? I gave it a 2.
You gave it a 2.
Element of action was there, but the romance was lackluster. If we rated it on a bromance scale, though, I'd give it a solid 4.
So for me, I had a different perspective to the movie. It was like, where was the actual romance? I mean, he met this chick and there's barely any interaction. She was just a throwaway segue to get involved with the surfing gang or bank robbers, which she was useful. But then it's like, where's the love or romance in the movie? Is it a Keanu Busey love story, or is it a Keanu Patrick Swayze love movie? That's really where the love was. And to give Crispy credit, like, if it was a man love, and that's what I expect, is like, okay, this is captured. Who cares? When is the 3-way between Swayze, Keanu, and Busey gonna happen? It's like, that's what I was waiting for, the 3-way between them. It's like that's would have been the cherry on top of the movie. So, action versus romance. Action, of course, and the man loving. I mean, that's like the only thing going on with it. That was the actual romance. It's like Keanu was loved for both of them. That's my perspective. The first time seeing it, it's like there's a whole lot of man loving. Red flag or green flag. Maybe they might have lasted. Like at the end, who cares? Why was he not jumping in the sea to save his love from dying out in the waves? That's what I was waiting for him to rip off his shirt and to dive into. No, that's what I was waiting for. The Unreal, I think once he was found out, they would immediately kill him instead of taking him on some stupid robbery and, what do they call him? Skydive. Yeah, that was actually retarded. They should have just killed him. End of story, roll credits. Without the love, it's like, who cares? The man love would have been the actual story if they would have just given to their desires of the 90s that wasn't acceptable and just accepted they need man love, and it would have been quite a good movie. And that's why I gave it the inverse, where you gave it a 2, Crispy. I gave it a 4 for the man love. So it was just unexpected romance to the film.
You all got it wrong. Good Lord. Every single one of you. Wrong. This
Okay.
movie is not about man love or love between a man and a woman. This is about love of Mother Ocean. The surf movie. Patrick Swayze loves the ocean. And he got Keanu Reeves to love said ocean. That's why he quit at the very end and threw his badge. Anyway, no, so yeah, this movie, like as far as romance was concerned, the only romance that was literally brought on was him just trying to get in as undercover, and then he kind of falls for this girl because of her story. But in a way, it's completely and utterly manipulated. So, team action, team romance, team action for sure for this one. Red flag for sure for the romance between Keanu Reeves and I can't remember the actress's name. I really like that actress too because she was a
Lori Petty.
thank you, Lori Petty, because she was Tank Girl. She's in a lot of pretty cool movies. I just like the actress. She's cool as shit. Yeah, definitely red flag. I mean, once again, can't really start a whole entire relationship, like romance and relationship on lies. I mean, the whole thing was just a lie. I mean, he saves her at the end, but the whole entire thing, like, yeah, bromance wise, would have been amazing. The action was good. I like a good bank robbery movie.
I don't know if you knew, but he got in a car accident, so he went further. Like he got brain damage from the car accident.
Really, Gary Busey?
Yeah,
Did that start his kind of downward spiral into craziness?
yeah, his descent, but he was already kind of mad, so I mean, it just furthered his descent.
Overall, I gave this one a 2. And the only reason I gave it a 2 is because, as far as romance is concerned, there's hardly any romance in this. But if you look at it in different perspectives, yes, there's romance with Mother Ocean.
And man love.
Man love, yeah. So,
What was our total?
total for this would be 3. 3 out of 5. Hitman's Bodyguard will be next.
Okay.
So, Hitman's Bodyguard is you got a guy who's a professional bodyguard, and he's striving for like, I guess like the top A rating for bodyguards for his profession, like gold star. I guess it's a big thing. He's like striving to be the best bodyguard ever, and this is all was Ryan Reynolds. You gotta like him in a comedy. It's pretty good. Like I guess it's more action comedy romance than action romance. If you think about it, he's trying to get like the top tier rating, and then the hitman, which is Samuel L. Jackson, ruins that by killing the guy he's protecting at the very beginning of the movie. So then it goes immediately to him like being like a B tier bodyguard, and he's all pissed and miserable. He blames his love interest on the whole entire freaking thing, I guess, considering like he thinks it was a leak or something, and that's what ruined his whole career. And he still holds that grudge when it actually wasn't really. You find out later on in the movie it wasn't even her fault. It was Samuel L. Jackson just had an opportunistic killing of this guy. He just happened to look out the window and say, "Hey, 2 for 1, great! I can get that guy," and just kills him. So he ruins the whole entire thing. Now there's 2 love interests in this movie. So you got Ryan Reynolds trying to, well, at the end, kind of figuring out that his girlfriend was actually not the reason why his career like plummeted to nothing. So he's like trying to like rekindle that relationship. And then you also have the hitman's relationship with his wife, which is Salma Hayek. So Samuel L. Jackson, Salma Hayek, they're psychotic. Both of those two are just nuts as far as like the way they met and everything. This movie was more like a bromance funny thing than romance, to be honest. And I probably would have gave it a 1.5 for the rating, just because it's not, as far as romance is concerned, both of these romances are a red flag. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson and Salma Hayek's romance is a good God. How you guys doing? Like, well, I guess it could be a green flag because they're both psychopaths and they found each other. So yay, you know, love conquers all. They found each other. Team action for sure in this movie because it's just pumped full of action and it's hilarious. Just the dumb stuff that's happening. Now, if what didn't have explosions, like I guess you just have like Samuel L. Jackson breaking out Salma Hayek from prison. I gave it a 1.5.
I got a question for you.
Shoot.
How are you going to give a movie that you picked a 1.5?
I like the movie and I decided to pick action romance, but as far as like our scale goes, I'm not gonna like
I got you.
end all be all bees knees best movie ever. No, it's just one of those movies you can just keep watching because it's just funny. It's like, hey, it's on, I'm gonna watch that.
I got you.
Yeah, it's just background filler for me for a movie, but yeah, you made me pick action romance, and you already picked a couple of the movies I was gonna pick, so I can't pick the same
Okay.
movies with you guys.
Fair enough.
So I just had to throw this one out there.
You want to go next? Dark Flowers.
So this movie to me, like it was worth watching. There were funny parts, there was explosions. It's not going to go on my list to pick up at Entertain Mart next time I'm there. I mean, I told Mob that it was interesting enough that I'll probably watch the next one, and he's like, "Oh God, there's a next one." Just enough to get like the laughs and everything. But yeah, the romance definitely wasn't enough to carry the movie. I think the Ryan Reynolds romance could have been a green flag in that I think they did care about each other and there was just a big misunderstanding that happened. But then like Samuel L. Jackson and Salma Hayek, yeah, that was toxic as all hell. But again, what kind of romance could you have if you're a contract killer? I don't know. Definitely team action, really team comedy. The comedy is what brought through this movie. Like even the action wasn't all that great. It was just that there were funny parts to it. Agreed, not realistic in any way, shape, or form. I don't think there was a single part of this movie that was like, yeah, that could happen. And then it definitely, like the romance wasn't strong enough for any part of this to where it could have carried through if you didn't have the action sequences and the comedy. Drop it down to a 2.5.
5.
My favorite part was when Samuel L. Jackson's driving and he slams on the brakes and Ryan Reynolds goes out through the windshield, flips, rolls, stands up. He's like, "What the hell?" And Samuel L. Jackson's like, "What happened to the seatbelt rule?"
Yeah.
Like completely ridiculous, but it was hilarious to me for some reason.
Crispy?
Definitely the comedy that carries this movie. I'm with, Stealthy over here where it can be on as background noise. We're not usually watching it, but it's something we'll turn on if we just need background noise or we're cleaning or whatever. The romance, red flags all around. Like, just doesn't seem feasible. If you didn't have the action or the comedy, this movie would fall flat. I ended up giving it a score of 1.5 just because, it's Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson. I'll watch any of their movies, but the overall realisticness of the movie, it's just not there.
Action versus romance?
Team action or team comedy, but definitely the action and the comedy are what carry this film.
Red flag, green flag?
Red flags all around.
Most unrealistic moment?
It's probably Ryan Reynolds going through the windshield and then standing up. I mean, yeah, car accidents happen and people do go through windshields, but they don't stand back up. They're usually severely injured.
That.
And would it work without?
No, it wouldn't work at all.
And what was your final score? Again?
1.5.
Okay. And what was the result of that, Gerald?
Well, we haven't
Well,
got
you
to
have
work
to give
with it.
yours.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was just skipping over
Gave
me.
it a 0 because he's just
Yeah.
not talking at all. No, you know what? Hell, that movie.
Yeah. It was like, my result is... Just add it up, Gerald. Okay, Hitman's Bodyguard. Again, one of the 3 movies where they just need to say, fuck it, this is a man love movie. Who cares about the romances? Because they were just afterthoughts and just included so they could propel man loving. So, yet another man loving movie.
Yes,
And
saying man love just sounds gay.
yeah, it just is what it is. So, that was the main love affair. Just to criticize the window exit when he stopped was blatantly stolen from Raising Arizona, where HI falls through the window the same way. I think that's like kind of ticky tacky on the whole action, where it's kind of like not Reynolds playing himself. It's just always him perpetually playing Deadpool in every movie. That's all I get from Ryan Reynolds from every movie. It's like, I'll just watch Deadpool instead of Ryan Reynolds movie. But I think the action, and I kind of compared it to that where Kingsman had a really good story, and that's what it tried to be, kind of like an American Kingsman. But if you want to watch a good movie to this light, just go watch Kingsman. Don't waste your time.
Hold on, Ab. I'm gonna stop you here. Why did none of us pick Deadpool?
That's what I said watching this
We
movie.
should have picked Deadpool. It's a romantic
Yep.
movie.
That's what I said. If we're going to just watch Deadpool, just pick
Oh, that makes me
Deadpool.
so mad now. I should
Yeah.
have that. Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue. King.
No. Legitimate rebuttal. So, so I mean, besides that, I think like the action in more modern movies is just to keep people's attention rather than to like Point Break, where you go back in time and the action is based around. It's still like bromance, but it's still a better story in my opinion.
It's propelling the story of like why they're doing it, considering they're chasing the waves and whatnot. They're chasing
Yeah.
the
Instead
wells.
of versus just having action for action.
Yeah,
I just
sure.
that's
It's a
my main
plot
problem
moving
with
device.
what's that?
The plot moving device.
Yeah. I got you. So I mean, team action versus team romance, man loving once again. Red flag versus green, red. I mean, none of these relationships would work. I mean, just the Ryan Reynolds, Samuel L. would work. Unreal, all of it. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. Would it work without, if it was just man loving? Yes. So my score was 2.5.
With a grand total score of a 2.
A 2. Yeah. So my first pick is Scott Pilgrim, and it's directed by Edgar Wright. And if you don't know who he is, he did At the World's End, Hot Fuzz, and Shaun of the Dead. I'll just read the write-up. Scott, a renowned piece of shit, according to his friends, attempts to resist the love of a high schooler to win the heart of a new girl that comes into town, Ramona Flowers. Little does he know he has to deal with 7 of her evil exes to win her heart. It's such a good movie. I mean, to me, how it's put together with the arcade style theme and the music by Beck. Music by Beck is just great. I think that's like the best soundtrack out of all the movies that we picked, in my opinion. I mean, you could say the action is like too much. I don't know, versus This Is War, where there was just action for action, but there's action for meaning, in my opinion. I don't know. It might just be my perspective. But overall, good movie. Love it. Got a quote where it's Knives comes in at the bar and she dyes her hair blue. His friends say, "Isn't that your ex high schooler girlfriend?" And he's like, and then he gets nervous because Ramona's right there and he says, "I gotta pee on her." He says, "I gotta pee." And then he runs to just stuff like that. It's hilarious. But at the end, I don't know if you guys knew, the whole ending was supposed to be changed up. Scott Pilgrim was revealed to be a mass murderer and he was going to get arrested at the end. So everything that happened or took place in the movie was just all in his mind. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that, but that would have been made for a way cooler ending.
That would have been a cooler ending, considering how you just think he's a creep.
Yeah, considering he's like all of the girls he's dated and all his friends thinks he's a piece of shit. And he's living on a mattress with a gay guy and they all sleep in the same bed. Like, don't mind what you see here. Just turn around in this bed. So, anyway, I picked the action over the romance because You know, it was just much better. Him fighting all the weird people is great. Red flag, green flag, it would have worked with Ramona. I mean, if you knew that she was going to be controlled by a chip, if you got rid of the chip, it would have worked. So that's good. Unrealistic. I mean, the whole damn movie is unrealistic.
Explosions would have worked.
If
Since
you
we're
had the
done,
dynamic of Scott Pilgrim dating a high schooler and then he meets a, a new girl in town, maybe, but it's who would watch that movie? It's gross. So
the sheer fact that he's dating a high schooler, like how old is Scott? He's got to be like in his
he's 20. What was he? 20?
22. I
I think
think
he's
they say
22.
22.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
22 and he's dating like a 16 or 15-year-old high schooler or something. Like what the hell?
17.
17, okay. Well, 17 is not as
Yeah,
bad. Well, they had to keep it that way probably for the movie. Like, hey, you can't
yeah.
underage. Still, it's like creep.
So my score, just doing the point fives, is 4.5.
4.5. Scott Pilgrim. I like the movie as far as like the way they put it together. The video game comic book kind of sequence they use for all the fights is freaking great.
Mm-hmm.
I I love the fact that you look at it, it's like Scott Pilgrim beats up Superman, Captain Marvel, Superman, and Captain America. He beats them all.
Because that's what they go on to be in the Marvel
Yeah.
universe or
So
DC too.
Marvel, DC, they're all superheroes
Mm-hmm.
later on. But oh man, I love the whole entire. My favorite part of the whole movie was the whole vegan thing, where he tricks the guy with the whole mind's eye. I made you think that it was soy by thinking that this cup had soy in it, or by thinking the other one did. Is you lose your vegan powers, and then those two guys bust through the wall. So stupid. But as far as like team action, for sure, I like the action in the movie. Red flag, green flag. I think it might have worked with Ramona with the whole seven evil exes thing. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. Like, my God, you have to. It's a lot of work to beat through seven freaking exes to actually date this person. But I think it would have worked. Yeah, unrealistic all the way through the whole movie. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of funny because it's made to be like, Scott Pilgrim's just this normal guy until he has to fight the exes, and then it turns into a video game, and he like does all those fantastical things. I still think he's a creep considering he's dating a high schooler, and then the fact that he's just essentially homeless. He's
Yeah.
gay best friends.
And his actual parents live across the street, which is weird.
Yeah, it's strange. And would it work without the explosions? Nah, I don't think so. I think it would have fallen flat if it didn't have the action in it. I enjoyed the action. It was awesome. I gave it a 3.
Dark Flowers.
I This wasn't probably my type of movie. There were some parts in it that were funny, but this was one that was a little harder for me to watch. I just thought of this, and maybe I'm thinking way too deep into this movie, but going through the seven X's, is it really like demonstrating in a ridiculous way that as you grow up and get into these relationships, that part of what you have to deal with to make it work with this person is going through all the shit that they went through with all of their exes, and it's just amplified to the power of 100. It's like, well, this ex screwed her up in this way, and so now we're going to have this battle to make this relationship work. So if you look at it that way, then yeah, I think they would work, because Scott Pilgrim did manage to get through all seven of the exes and
Okay.
break her away from all of them.
That's
Like
a
I
good
said, maybe
point. He
that's
did
too
fight
deep
for his
into this
love.
and it wasn't that
Yeah.
far. But as far as the rest of it, yeah, he's a creep. To that point, I absolutely agree. The music in this movie is phenomenal. Like that was the only thing that kept you going, is like when it was getting to the point where you're just like, oh, I want to pull my hair out, then a good song would come on and you're like, okay, I can do this.
I can live through this. This
I
music's
can live through this. Yeah. So I gave it a 2. I gave it a 2 because I thought it was at least creative, a different way to look at it. And again, it's not really my kind of movie, but it was, I mean, I got to the end and I still had my hair, so we were okay. For sure, this movie, like the romance wasn't strong enough in any way for this movie to hold itself up if there wasn't all the other sequences that went into it. So, like I said, I gave it a 2.
Kind of going with everyone. Like, I agree. Fighting the seven is just fighting for his love. Um, but Scott Pilgrim is a creep who just doesn't really have any means, not going anywhere in life, really. The music was great in this movie. I am team action on this one, even though he is fighting for his life. Like the action in this movie was comical, but it did help carry the movie through. I think his love life, it depends. Like if you're looking at it like age difference wise, as we get older, we realize age is just a number. So it could be a green flag, but if you're really like curious about the age like difference, then it could be a red flag depending on how you look at it. I thought his romance because he was fighting for it was more of a green flag. And I'm definitely team action on this one. So if there was no action, I think this movie would have fallen flat. And my final rating was a 2.
Grand total for this movie would be 2.8.
Okay. So who's in the lead right now, Gerald?
Surprisingly, Point Break. Point Break so far is in the lead.
This Means War was my second film, and it's spy versus spy. They're both fighting for the same love interest. The two spies are CIA agents, best friends, and they have to try to win her over using their CIA spy skills to the best of their ability and making her believe that that's the best person for her. It's got an all-star cast with Reese Witherspoon, Chris Pine, Tom Hardy, Chelsea Handler. I like this movie. It's kind of one that I put on in the background if I just need to get some work done because I do know it line for line. Um, Definitely a lot more action mixed with great elements of romance as well as comedy thrown in from Chelsea Handler. Overall, I think Team Romance wins out on this one because they do have to put their best foot forward. But we also see their friendship fall apart. As the movie carries on, watch their friendship fall apart. I think it's a red flag or a green flag, because she's genuinely trying to figure out which one is best for her and be genuine with both. I don't think this movie though would work without the explosions, just because it is a lot of the action that carries through the romance pieces of it. I don't really have an unrealistic moment in this movie. I'm sure there's some, but I didn't find any. But my overall score, I think, was a 3 on this one.
I mean, this was another movie. It was worth watching once. I don't know that I'll throw it on again. The biggest thing I walked away with, like, this movie wasn't even all the way over. And I was sitting there and I was like, there was definitely more chemistry between Chris Pine and Tom Hardy than there was between either of them and Reese Witherspoon. And I actually like all three of those actors. Chelsea Handler, on the other hand, drives me insane. I don't know why I don't like her, but she's like nails on a chalkboard to me. So through the whole movie, I think she was a distraction rather than being funny, which I get she was trying to be funny, but maybe it's just my own personal bias against her. I will say the only part of the movie where she did make the most sense is when she was telling Reese Witherspoon, don't pick the best guy, pick the guy that makes you the best girl. So that part made sense, but that was the only part of the movie where she was actually being somewhat serious. The rest of it, she was kind of being campy. So, the action was fun. I mean, it was there, but again, it was more comedy than action in some ways. Like it was over the top done. So I gave it a 2. I'm going to round it up to a 2.5 because again, I wasn't doing half score, so I'll give it a 2.5. Because again, it was worth watching. It was entertaining, but I just thought the chemistry really was between the two guys more than anything. Like their friendship was more solid than the romance part of it. So that would make me team action. I think the action sequences were more enjoyable. I do give it green flag. I think that the relationships themselves, I do think all three of them actually did truly care about each other. And so whatever was trying to make it work. At the same time, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like a romance that's built off of all these action sequences, like once the action's gone, does the romance die out too? I don't know. The entire movie was unrealistic. I mean, I guess the dates themselves maybe weren't unrealistic, but they had extra info that you wouldn't have had in real life. It's
that's
really
the
easy to
unrealistic part
take
for me.
somebody on the perfect date if you've got, surveillance on them being a creep and you go in and you break into their house and you see that they have this painting and then you take them to the art gallery. I mean, that's cheating, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Um, so I guess that part of it's unrealistic. And then, yeah, like I said, I don't know. I don't know how well the movie held together anyway from that standpoint, but I don't know that you could have carried the romance just solo. Like if they weren't also CIA agents, would you have sat through the whole movie watching them try to win this chick over? Probably not. So
I mean, but them getting surveillance is no different than women now stalking Facebook or Instagram to put clues together of who they're dating.
Yeah, but those women also don't have like a CIA database and helpers helping them.
Oh, this is
Yes.
You know,
there's that, and either one of those still is
well,
not healthy. Like I
you
think
think,
there was something to be said for, back when you could date and just, I mean, don't get me wrong, people are gonna lie. If they're gonna lie, they're gonna lie. But yeah, I think it is all cheating all the way around. I don't know.
yeah. The only thing I don't think is unfair is the fact they both had the same amount of information because they both work for the CIA. So, like, it would have been cheating if like one of them was a CIA op, the other guy was just some poor schmuck on the streets. Like, oh crap, I can't compete with this dude. What the fuck's going on? How's he know all this stuff? But they both knew the same information because they're both working the same angles and stuff. They're both CIA. So as far as unfair is concerned, I guess it wouldn't be unfair. It's just
I
kind of,
think it was unfair to her.
well, it's unfair to her. And talk about like not picking up on like a red flag. Like, I just talked about this with my friend, and now all of a sudden this guy's taking me to get a puppy. The fuck,
Mhm.
you know?
right.
It's like, how the hell does that work? You know? So like stuff like that is kind of like you think like she'd pick up on it. It's like, what the hell's going on? Like I just talked to my friend about this, and now all of a sudden it's happening. Like it just like manifested itself. No, no, there's no freaking way. As far as the movie's concerned, for us, yeah, it was a good. I like the movie. I thought it was pretty good. It's background noise for us. We could sit there and just put it on and just do stuff, and it's enjoyable to watch. The action scenes were good. The end kind of bummed me out. Like at the very end when they're jumping out of the plane, where he was saying, "Oh yeah, well since you fucked my wife, I gotta tell you, I fucked yours too. Bye. I never fucked
Hmm.
you, Nick. I'll kill you." You know. Then as far as like the whole entire deal, where like if the action doesn't once the action's gone, if it's not going to work out as far as relationships concerned, well, they'll always have action because they're in the CIA, they're operatives, unless they get desk jobs. Red flag, green flag, I'll give a green flag for romance and all that. I think it's team action for sure. Green flag for the couples. Unrealistic moment. This is the whole CIA thing for me. It's like these guys are using because I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Like I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure like real CIA guys aren't gonna be like looking up people, but I'm pretty sure they are too because anytime you're in the PD, you do the same thing. If you're a cop, it's like first thing you do is I'm going to look up this person, see what the hell happened to them, and it just kind of happens. Will this work without explosions? Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think it would. The explosions are kind of what brings you to the movie, and that's why it's action romance. Now, if you had no explosions, it was just two guys kind of went over this girl, then it would just be a Hallmark movie. Romance, that's all it would be. And
Hmm.
then you just as a guy, you'd have to sit there and suffer through another Hallmark movie of the same thing over and
Yeah.
over again. She's not really looking at me right now because she knows my disdain for Hallmark, and they, oh,
It's a thing.
yeah. So it's I don't want to get off on a tangent, but I might. But the whole entire Hallmark Christmas movie is how it's the same plot, cookie cutter into the same fucking deal. Overworked woman goes to old hometown, meets old boyfriend, falls in love. The fiance in the other area, you
Finds
know,
out the fiance is a total douchebag.
and it's the same cookie story. You could insert actors in different towns and actresses and it'd be the same
Same story, different paint.
crap
Pretty much.
that Hallmark gets out every year for these people who believe in Christmas in July. Sorry, that just irritates the shit out of me.
It's
But
okay.
And what was your final score, Gerald?
my bad. My final score was Look, a 3.
Three. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. For me, and this was my write up for This Means War, professional stalkers fight for the hand of a woman at taxpayers' expense.
Oh my god, man! You could be a movie reviewer.
Of something.
We could put you in the paper like the 2 thumbs up guys.
I need three because I always three. I give this movie 3 thumbs down. So I need an extra hand and arm. But I mean, snapneck action romance. But once again, man loving to the core. And my other note on it, I think Chris Pine would logically lose to Tom Hardy any given day, just based on looks. So just throw that out
The
there.
British accent, isn't it?
What's
Yeah,
that?
the British accent
Nah, just looks.
in America.
Nah, just looks. But an extra note: Chelsea Handler looks like the motivational speaker Tony Robbins in drag. I'll just add that.
Yes.
Okay. Team action versus romance. Neither. Just didn't give my interest. Red or green. Uh, it's red, and that's based on this woman didn't get to know the actual person. They were fighting just based on knowledge that they were given and saying, "Ooh, this is what I like," and is a relationship based on lies. So I don't see how you think, or anyone could think this could logically work like outside of the non-action or the movie, because she doesn't really know the person that she dated at all. I mean, they might give elements like, okay, he shoots, he has a kid and everything, but I think it's just based on lies because they didn't like any of the stuff that they presented. It was just more to woo her than anything. What's on a realistic movie? Our moments, I'd say all of it. Like you guys mentioned, I'm sure people do background checks on stuff. And what happens when they find something that is unsavory? I mean, they just get rid of the person. So I don't think it's that big of a deal if they do find up something without explosion. Or another bad thing is maybe an FBI agent could do it, but to get more detailed on that, if you have your record expunged, there's things that people won't know about you if you get it expunged.
So apparently FBI can.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like
Like
the
if
FBI can, but like on the regular,
can,
like if it
right?
was just a cop or something,
Yeah, they couldn't.
there'd be nothing that would come up. Um, Without explosions, would the love did work? Would we care if the love did work? Not me. Let's give it a solid 2. What's our total, Gerald?
2.6.
Okay. Who's in the lead so far again? Point Break?
Point Break still.
Oh, who's got the next movie?
All right. So my second movie was Grosse Point Blank. The overall agenda for this is a contract killer goes to his high school reunion and tries to rekindle the flame with the high school sweetheart that he left behind. So this movie is not in any way, shape, or form realistic. It's again very much a comedy, more even than action romance, but there's just something about this movie that is just it's fun to watch. It's an older movie. It's completely unrealistic, but just watching this process of him, like he doesn't want to go back, and his assistant who um wants him to go back, and so actually finds a job that he can take in his hometown so that he can go back. And I like John Cusack a lot. He's one of those actors that he's funny even maybe when he doesn't mean to be. Like he's got that built-in dry humor. So most of the roles he's in, there's at least something he does that's funny. Like I said, it might not be intended, but I just think he is. And then his sister plays his assistant, and I didn't even realize he has his other sister in the movie too. She's one of the chicks at the reunion. Amy is his third sister in real life.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, that's kind of cool. But yeah, just the comedy going through this whole thing. Dan Aykroyd as an assassin. Oh my gosh. Like talk about a total change from what you used to see him in. So it's a lighthearted movie. It's ridiculous. But I enjoy watching it. So as far as comedy, I'm team action, but I'm gonna say I'm team comedy. Like that's truly what this is. Is their relationship red or green? I don't know. Like they had a real relationship when they were younger. So if he went back to his family reunion and he wasn't a contract killer, could they have rekindled? Maybe. I don't know. The movie's not realistic at all. I can't think of a single thing in the movie that's realistic in any way, shape, or form, other than, maybe him driving old cars. I don't know. And then the entertainment of this movie is the comedy action. I mean, their romance part of it, it's a fleeting part of the story, but there's not any one part of it where he sweeps her off her feet again. In fact, the fact that she talks to him right away when he shows back up, I think is kind of unusual because if you got left 10 years ago with no explanation, are you even going to entertain this? I don't know, maybe. But so overall score, I gave it a 4, and it's just because I've seen this movie enough times that every time I watch it, it's still funny. So I gave it a 4.
I hated this movie. In fact, Stealthy over here will tell you that he had to wake me up multiple times because I fell
Yeah, I had a
asleep.
jabber multiple times. I liked it, but
I did not. I mean, I like John Cusack's movies. I like Joan Cusack in movies. However, this one just didn't work for me. The only thing I found maybe semi-realistic is maybe going back to your hometown and finding like your childhood home destroyed and a gas station put over there because I mean that's happened in places. In this case, I'm more team action than team romance. The action in this movie kind of helped carry it, but the comedy is what really carried this movie. This movie just wouldn't work without the explosions, I don't think. I don't think the romance interest was strong enough there to carry it. My overall score on this one was a 1.5.
Okay. For me, never watched it before. I think this is, to give credit, modern versus old movies. There's just such a charm to old movies compared to, if you compared to this one to the last one we watched. What was the last one? Or that we reviewed?
this means war. Yeah.
This Means War. This Means War is just action to have action. Well, this one actually has some soul to it, is comparison. So to give you a contrast with movie time frames, just modern movies are just terrible nowadays compared to the old movies. I just wanted to add that. And Dan Aykroyd as a killer, amazing. Like I've never seen him in such a role. Ghostbusters maybe, but action, but him being a killer in just a drastic change is pretty awesome. I love to see him in that role. And that's what kind of made the movie, besides John Cusack. He's just, like Dark Flowers was saying, his dry humor. Dry humor is always landing on these ears in a great way. Besides that, just to mention, unrealistic, I think it's completely realistic, because if someone disappeared and went to the army and got a job after 10 years and went to their high school reunion and met their girlfriend again and they still had that spark, completely realistic. I could see that happening. And if you just based it on that, it's a realistic thing that would happen. Team action versus romance, both, I think, like just having that dynamic. If you broke it down to, if you got rid of the assassin parts and the action, and if it was just simply someone that came back after 10 years and like, oh my God, we still love each other. Okay. Unrealistic, all the fucking movie. I'm sure people have rekindled their love after reunion, or love to see someone again if they went to a high school reunion. And I'd never go to one because I went to a million schools, so fuck everyone that I went to school with. Would it work without action? I'd say so. If you just had a movie where someone came back and tried to reclaim his love for his former girlfriend, it completely would work. So I give it a hard 4.
Yeah. So this movie, I first time I ever seen it too. I actually really enjoyed it. That was a really good movie, and it just has that old movie charm. And Dan Aykroyd, you just gotta love Dan Aykroyd in a role like this. He was funny.
Yes.
Trying to create the union of killers. That was hilarious. Just trying to get John Cusack to join, and I didn't realize this. I was just kind of looking it up because I couldn't remember the name of the movie, but I remember the actor and I remember Assassin. It's like so I kind of looked it up and I didn't realize he was in like Cusack was in like 4 movies where he played assassins. I didn't
Really?
know. Yeah, that was kind of wild. I was like, really? That's nuts.
Hmm.
I like the part at the very end when he's telling her like, "Are you taking care of the office? Are we done?" And she's over just like swirling around the gasoline. Yeah, take care of it all. It's all going to hell. Do this. And then she thinks like he's leaving a bomb or something for her to kill her.
And his
I remember,
stack of
yeah,
money.
severance page. Just say it's thank you. Green flag for the same thing as far as like realistic sense goes. Like if you saw that spark for somebody after that many years and you rekindle something, it's plausible. Obviously, especially if you go in like the army for 10 years or army and then a job, and you leave for 10 years and come back to your hometown. Then as far as like, yeah, you go back to your hometown, your house is gone. It's a Quickie Mart or something. What the hell?
Quickie Mart.
Jacked up. One thing I thought was weird, and I don't know, maybe it's a thing for like schools back east, and especially older schools, was like the fact they had a big old broiler just
Yeah.
they could hide the body to burn it. It's like what the
That's
why?
the exact point I bring up too, because we went back to my old grade school in Walsenburg, and I was like, does every school have a, what would you call it, a furnace or an incinerator? We walked every inch of that school except for the janitorial room, but I've been in there. I'm pretty sure they don't have something like that. So maybe it is something back east,
It's
to
got
your
to be a
point.
back east thing to the older buildings because it's a broiler system to heat up the schools. Now, mind you, when I was going to school at Parkview, we had the old radiator heaters,
Hmm.
the water radiator. The only
Yeah.
reason I remember that too is because many a kid burned themselves on those.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah,
get too
yeah.
close to those, it's gonna fry your freaking arm.
Yep.
So the old building did have that, but I never remember having like just an incinerator that we could throw bodies in. That's like where like the bad kids went. And
That would have changed the whole dynamic of grade school.
it's like, what happened to little Jimmy? Oh, little Jimmy's dead too many times. Nobody cares about little Jimmy anymore. He's been dead. Unrealistic. Yeah, the whole movie's unrealistic as far as the gunplay and everything. The fact they never run out of bullets and Dan Aykroyd just keeps manifesting guns out of nowhere because he leaves so many guns behind.
Hmm.
Shoot, 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 shoot. Drop. Another gun. Just spawns guns, which was pretty funny though. I did like that. Dan Aykroyd was a good assassin. I'd love to watch him more assassin roles. And would it work without the explosions? Yeah, possibly. Yeah, because as far as the story's concerned, yeah, like somebody comes back from 10 years, rekindles a relationship with a former fling, and they end up getting together. Yeah, I could see it. Okay, but team action, or I like this movie for both action and romance. I enjoyed it both. It was an enjoyable movie. I gave it a 3 out of 5.
And what's the total?
3.1. So 3.1.
Okay.
So
So
far,
point.
it's finally beating out Point Break.
Okay.
I will do. It's The Bodyguard. Okay, The Bodyguard follows former Secret Service agent Frank Farmer, which is played by Kevin Costner, who's hired to protect a global pop star, Rachel Marin. Thank you. After she begins receiving disturbing threats, and Rachel Marin's played by Whitney Houston. What ends up happening is like he's sitting there trying to protect her and everything, and her being a big, glamorous pop star, she's really controlling in this movie. Like she doesn't understand. Like, hey, like yeah, the actions I'm doing are putting like me in danger. Like being out in the public eye, and then like getting pissed off with him. It's like you're so staunchy and this and that, and he's actually just trying to do his job right because he's disciplined and she's not really. But it ends up going on like they start doing all this stuff, and the discipline from Frank and the glamorous lifestyle from Rachel are clashing points, but it ends up driving an emotional connection. After a while, they develop feelings for each other, and it's full of suspense and drama. And one of the big things about this movie was probably the soundtrack because it was written basically by Whitney Houston, and the song "I Will Always Love You" was like one of the most iconic songs from Whitney Houston's career, but it was for this movie. Action was concerned. There's a few suspenseful moments. Violent. The stalker threats are real suspenseful, and they have a big climactic showdown. But it's not nonstop action. it's not really like the big driving factor in the movie. The more is kind of the romance is what drives this movie more, and it's the central relationship between the two characters that actually kind of is at the heart of this film. To be honest, red flag, green flag, relationship wise, I give it a green flag. It's one of those deals where I don't know if I consider it like Stockholm syndrome in a way, like you fall in love with somebody like who's basically holding you captive. And it's not really that way, but it's the fact like the bodyguards basically, hey, you can't leave your house, but the fact that they're always around each other, yeah, eventually you're gonna like get feelings for each other because especially if like the person saves your life. I know it's their job, but you start getting to know them and everything. You could probably get relationship vibes from that. Would this movie work without the action? Yes, I believe it would, because the action was it was there, but not really like in your face. It wasn't the driving factor of the movie. It wasn't action based. It was more of a suspenseful type based movie. I think Team Romance would win on this one just because it's basically more of a romantic movie as opposed to an action one. Giving this movie a 4.
Okay. First, I'd like to talk about Kevin Costner. There's vanilla actors in this world, but I like to call Kevin Costner the desert of actors, where acting goes to die where Kevin Costner resides. And Kevin Costner is terrible to me. He's just so cardboard, and like unflavored milk is Kevin Costner to me. So it was hard to get through because just on him, but I mean, the love interest, besides, it was a pretty cool aspect of having the stalker versus the killer and the sister hiring the killer. I like that dynamic. But I think, just in general, what was her name in the movie, Whitney Houston?
Rachel Marin.
So Rachel, I think she just does stuff like that where she likes toxic relationships. And this was her just current one at the moment where she was just cycling through a guy where this is how she does relationships being a star. She likes the excitement. And this is her only excitement in her life is just processing through men. Kevin Costner was just the plaything at the moment, in my opinion. Team action versus romance. No one cares about the romance. It's just action. Well, at least me, in my opinion. Red flag or green flag. I suppose actors could be like that where they process their men. So it could be a green flag for them just based on that. I'm sure they do that all the time. I'm like Madonna could be a good example where she's just running down men left and right, and like she leaves like the battlefields of war after she's done. So there's celebrities like that. Unreal.
Sorry.
What's that?
We'll go with the modern reference so the young people could know Taylor Swift.
Okay, Taylor Swift. Yeah, but I don't know. We'll just leave Taylor. I won't criticize her. Okay, Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift has a place in his heart. It's cool. He's a Swiftie all the way, wholeheartedly.
All the way.
I'm not judging.
Yes.
Not judging at all. The fact that she got back her music rights is awesome.
Heartburning.
I'm gonna say the fact that your wife also has Taylor Swift albums.
Yeah, I just like to talk it. So.
Oh, you do? You actually listen to Taylor Swift?
I've been listening to Taylor Swift since before she got super popular.
Oh, really? Because I've also theorized that no one listens to Taylor Swift. That she's like a government gimmick, and because I've never actually met a fan, so it's cool to meet a fan.
I've been listening to her since like her country days of Tim McGraw song and Teardrops on My Guitar. So
okay, yeah. So Taylor Swift is not just a government op.
It's nice to meet somebody who actually breaks the theory of government ops.
Yeah.
So good. The world's not so disdain and evil.
Yeah, there you go. So, I mean, unrealistic, I think. It could possibly happen, but I mean, even down to the sister trying to kill her to get the inheritance. I mean, that's such a, to be derogatory, a black thing that would possibly happen to the core. Not thinking about, oh, she's sensibly feeding me, but I could get more if I kill her. So that's such a black thing. I mean, without the action, I think so, yes. It's commonly realistic, I think. I gave it a 2, hard 2.
Archie.
Kevin Costner, man, desert of acting.
I did not know you hated Kevin Costner.
Oh, never.
I actually like Kevin Costner.
Hmm.
I like him in Wyatt Earp. I liked him in Mr. Brooks. That was a good freaking movie.
Yeah, I like him as a robot in real life.
Kevin Costner is like, if you give him a good Western, he's phenomenal. But like, he did fall flat in this movie.
Yay, it's somebody else's turn to shout out my movie.
I will give you this though. Like, I love The Bodyguard for the simple fact that it is iconic music. Like, I think it is the definition of Whitney Houston's career in terms of music. Unfortunately, Team Romance in this one, because I do think that those dynamics of employer versus employee relationships can happen. They do happen. But that also makes it a kind of a yellowish flag, not so much red, not so much green, because there is that power dynamic there. So I think, but I think too, like the most unrealistic thing within the movie is the way they go about handling the stalker. Not so much like having the bodyguard, but the way they go about handling it. And Whitney Houston's character is very much naive to the evils of the world. I think it would work without the explosions because the romance carries the movie. I gave this movie a solid 4.5.
If I may say something in between, you made a good point because I think stars are like that in general, where they're just sitting back in their mansion and they're unaffected by something, so they're free to say like, "Oh, I believe in this cause," because they're never touched by this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is true. I could piggyback off that too, as far as like actors and stars, like people who try to take your Second Amendment rights away. It's like, I believe nobody should have guns. Yeah, you're saying that nobody should have guns as you have a bodyguard with a gun
At all times
at
with
all
you.
times with you. You never have to worry about the evils of the world.
Yeah,
I
untouched.
don't think anybody's evil in this world, as like people are getting black bag behind them.
Yeah, yeah.
Nope. Out of here. And like they're just kind of sugarcoating the whole world for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dark Flowers.
Dangerous out here is a really nice neighborhood.
I think too, to remember it, that she was in the dark because everybody around her didn't think she could handle the truth. So she didn't even know that half this stuff was going on until halfway through the movie. So
Right.
she's running around doing whatever, but she doesn't actually understand that I mean, she's like, I don't even understand why you want me to have a bodyguard. Where if she had known somebody had been in the house on her fake bed, I'm sure she would have been like, you need to hire me a bodyguard now. So, I agree. I think stars in Hollywood don't have a clue what happens to the rest of us common folk. But I do think in her case, it was somewhat understandable because they didn't tell her till halfway through the movie that there was even anything going on. Her publicist and all those other guys think they're protecting her, but they're not. I like this movie. It was kind of an old throwback movie for me. Of course, I watched it years ago when it came out, and it's enjoyable. It has its moments. I think it is teen romance. The romance definitely carries the movie more than the action or anything. I actually think their romance, I don't know. I said green flag, but I don't think it would last. And so I actually liked that it ended how it did because they kind of go their separate ways because I just don't think it was realistic for them to have anything long term. I think it was one of those in the moment, this is what we needed type of romances. I think the movie actually is overall realistic. I mean, I think Hollywood, they do act that way. I think there are crazy people out there. I think the most unrealistic moment for me is when he actually agreed to go on a date with her. Like, I don't think a true bodyguard would have actually even opened up the door to let that happen. Because, the way she presents it is, well, I can't date anybody, so I might as well date you. Like, I think any bodyguard would have been like, no way, right? Because they just would have never opened up the door for that. But I do think the movie could have stood without the romance. I mean, the story behind it is there. So I actually gave the movie, I'm not going to shit on your movie, Gerald. I gave it a 4. So, yeah, I enjoy this movie. I don't have the disdain for Kevin Costner. I can't say he's my favorite actor, but I don't mind him in things. And to your point, it's, especially like some of the Westerns and stuff. I mean, there's a few movies he's in. He does play a similar character in a lot of his movies, but I think he does okay. So And I loved Whitney Houston. I love the soundtrack. I mean, that was back in the day when this movie came out. That was, one of the things that was always on the radio. So,
What was your
yep,
final score again for?
it was a 4. Yeah,
What
and
was our
honestly,
total,
I
Gerald? Go ahead.
I
3.6.
like the ending not with them ending up together and riding off into the sunset. Like I actually think the ending is what makes the movie good because it's realistic.
Yeah, I think there could have been a Bodyguard Part 2 where they could have made a black man and he would have been choking Whitney Houston and she would have came down to earth and realized that what's really going on with the world. But anyway, go to our next movie. Who wants to?
Well, we got to get the total on this one.
Oh,
3.6. But the sequel to The Bodyguard, what would that be, like a 4?
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So 3.6, so that puts the Bodyguard now out in the lead.
Yep,
Yeah.
Bodyguard's out in the lead.
Gerald's got this. So who's next?
No, I don't.
Is it me?
It's you.
So is
I
it
think
the
it is
final
you.
singular movie?
No. Well, this is the final singular movie because then the last two are combined movies.
Okay, so the last ones we'll just go into and you guys could just both dish it out at the same time and then we'll go at the same time, if that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, last movie, my movie, Princess Bride. The novel is by William Goldmans and directed by Rob Reiner. Classic or timeless love movie. And my write-up, a sick boy apprehensive about his grandfather's visit. Little does the boy know the grandfather is about to welcome him into the world of romance, lost love, revenge, and a fairy tale ending that's inconceivable. So, I mean, such a great movie to me. I mean, they used to play this at school all the time because they actually didn't want to teach, so they popped this on. Even it was like I went to so many schools, and they did this all the time in English class for some reason, and they would just have you watch it and wouldn't do any homework on it or book report or something on it. They'd just have you watch it. I guess it was just to relieve the teachers of dealing with students all the time.
For
And
us,
yeah,
of us, that movie was probably Remember the Titans. They put that movie on so many freaking times.
what
Did
about
not go to a school where we watched movies in class. Like if they wheeled in the TV on the big ass cart, we were watching a documentary. We were watching something about the Civil War or whatever. Like I don't know what schools
I was
you
like,
guys
I
went
don't feel like
to, but
teaching today. I have a hangover. You're watching Remember the Titans.
yeah?
Yep.
So that was always a gift when they would roll on the TV. I was like, yeah, fuck school. It was like, yeah, even the teachers agree fuck school is a yes. So it was a good time. So
Yeah.
it was I never got to watch the full movie until I grew up. It's a very great movie. I mean, from you going into Wesley and the whole thing with As You Wish is really saying I love you, and then he goes away as a pirate. She thinks he's killed and she's basically possessed by Prince Humperdinck, and where he comes back and has to save her because he realizes what's going on, and then the whole dynamic with Fezzik and the Spaniard, and it's just such a good movie. I love it. It's so down to earth. Out of all our picks, it's just the most down to earth, and that's what I really like about it. Team action versus romance, both love the romance and the action. I think out of all the romance, it's the least chaotic, even though it is kind of nonsensical, but it's just that's the only way I could put it, down to earth. Red Flag, Green Flag, I think if it was just a movie where he went away and assumingly died and had to win his love back from Prince Humperdinck, I think it would work. I don't know if that's just naive thinking or not, but that's just the way I thought of it in total. Unreal, it's a fairy tale. Of course, it's unreal. Most realistic thing about it is it's Fred Savage getting read to by his grandfather. That's the most realistic thing about the movie rather than the fairy tale. And without action, is that what the last one? Without action?
Yeah, would it work without explosions? Well, without the action.
It would. Humperdinck versus Wesley dynamic. Yeah, it would. So I gave it all a 5. Love it.
I'll go next. I love this movie. It is a timeless fairy tale classic. Um, and I think it is the romance and the action that work hand in hand as the fairy tale classic and as it's being told through the grandfather's eyes. And it wasn't until much later in life that I started to piece together that the grandfather was Wesley. Because when he goes to leave the bedroom, he goes, "As you wish." A lot of people have caught that as they watch it. So for me, it's just this timeless classic. You know, you've got Andre the Giant in there. So just I am team romance and team action on this whole thing. I think it's a green flag. It definitely works because she doesn't realize that it's Wesley that's saving her until kind of the end. The only thing I mean, and then there's the comic relief of the priest trying to marry the two. We were actually going to use that in our wedding.
Say that. I was gonna have Will do that.
We were going to have our buddy Will do that for our wedding.
Oh, the actual commentary. That would have been cool.
Marriage. So for us, it's like, for me, it's a timeless classic. It's another movie that we just kind of put on as background noise, but more often than not, it just becomes one that we're just sitting down and watching. My overall score was a 5 on this one.
Dark Flowers. Here we go.
So for me, I watched this years ago and I didn't remember caring for the movie at all. So I was like, all right, I'm going to watch this again. Again, trying to go into some of these that I've watched and with an open mind. And I actually enjoyed the movie this time. So I don't know if I just missed parts of it the first time I watched it, or if there's a couple of the actors, like it's funny now, but maybe back then it might have been annoying to me. Like the oh, I can't think of his name. The one that always says inconceivable. 20 years ago or whatever, when I watched this, and by about the seventh inconceivable, I was probably like, oh God, this is stupid. And I wanted to turn it off. Where this time it was entertaining. So I liked it. As far as the team romance, team action, I think it's a good split of both. I liked both aspects of it. And again, it's very comedic. And so I think I prefer that over, like, our lives are so serious anyway. So if I can watch a movie that makes me laugh, I think it makes me like the movie that much more. Green flag. I definitely think this is a green flag romance. I think they loved each other and they were separated by his death. And so, getting through, I don't think there was other things that caused it. And so for them to be reunited and still be in love makes perfect sense to me. So I think that's there. Unrealistic. I agree with Mob. Like the only realistic part of this movie is him reading the story to his grandson. That said, I think it's embellished. I think because to your point, you find out that it's him. I think he's just dressed it up some. But yeah, it's really entertaining. It's a good movie. I think the romance part, I think maybe could hold up without the action, but I don't know that it would have been fun to watch at that point. The romance isn't front and center, like it's always there, but it's not. You have all those other elements in, so I kind of think you need all the elements to make this movie work. So I actually gave this movie a 4, which was a surprise to me because I didn't think I was going to give it that score.
Yeah,
But
I didn't.
yeah,
I
was
didn't
actually
expect
glad
this.
that I watched it
So
again.
yay, Gerald.
Yeah, this movie, it's iconic. I love this movie. The whole entire love story, I enjoy it. It's reminiscent of like some of the old songs and stories that I've actually listened to and heard from my dad. I just kind of realized this now. So there's a song called like John Riley, and the song is real reminiscent of this movie where it goes like the guy leaves his love interest behind and goes on a ship. Then he comes back and he doesn't look the same, and he's asking this woman like, "Will you marry me? If I tell you this and if I tell you that," or she keeps saying stuff like, "No, I'm waiting for my love who's across the sea," and he asks her questions like, "Well, if what if he marries somebody else out there? Like, would you still wait for him?" She said, if he marries somebody else, I'd be happy for him, and so on and so forth. And then, what if he died at sea? It's like that I'd mourn his death, but I'd still love him. And then it turns the end, like he kisses her and like she pushes him away. Like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, I'm your long lost love. I'm John Riley. He just kind of tested her. It kind of reminded me of that for some reason. I don't know why that kind of popped up in my head. It's kind of a weird thing to think about. But that kind of reminded me of the whole thing, the whole as you wish part. But the whole entire fact that she thinks he's dead this whole time and he's not. He comes back. What I liked about this movie was fighting to win back his love, going after him and then going through the people he had to fight, like the Spaniard, for instance. That was one of the coolest scenes in a movie, and it's iconic. Even like to this day, people will break it down and talk about that scene, how when they talk about the fencing styles, like, oh, you're using this style against me. Well, I'm going to use this, and that would work if you were left-handed. But I am also this, and like that's actually real stuff. So whoever did the movie or whoever like actually planned out like the fight scenes and stuff actually knew what they were talking about as far as like fencing styles. That was really cool. Like to me, I like that kind of trivia, that kind of history. It's like, that's really neat. And the Andre the Giant, that was probably one of the last movies he was really in where his health was actually good, Team action, team romance, I'm both. I like it both. I like the romance aspect of it because of the whole storyline of he's going back to win his love and the as you wish. The most unrealistic part. Well, the whole movie's kind of unrealistic, but the machine that takes life away sucks away your years. That's unrealistic, but it's kind of funny. Like I'd like to have that. It'd be funny. It's like, boom, 10 years away from your life. Will it work without the explosions or with the action? Yeah, I think it would because of the story. Just in general, it would work. And then green flag for the couple is what I think. I gave this movie a 5 overall because I just really like this movie. It's very enjoyable. Overall total score for this movie is a 4.7. So this one beats out
Leading
all.
by far, huh?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, your movie decided to conquer all.
You go with The Mummy.
Okay, we'll go with The Mummy. So,
Can I make a point before you get into it?
no, damn it. No, yeah, go ahead.
The Mummy is the only movie where there's consistent love and it's throughout the whole movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our joint movie was The Mummy. And the reason we picked this movie was for the fact that it was romance throughout and action. It was basically a perfect balance of the two. The librarian, who is also an archaeologist, and she's one of the best like in her field, but nobody thinks she is because she's a woman, and it kind of like drives the point through. Like even like in the movie, people will even say like, "Who follows?" They go by a woman. Who follows a woman, or what does a woman know? But like she's actually really well versed in Egyptian, knows what she's doing. Nobody ever takes her serious. She meets O'Connell, who is a soldier, basically like a soldier of fortune in a way. I'm trying to remember where this, like, what time period this would have been in as far as like real life time period. I think it before World War II, after World War One, maybe, possibly around that time.
Early 1900s.
It'd be after World War One because the pilot in there was flying an old biplane.
Yeah.
And he was part of the Great War, and he was pissed because he has survivor's remorse or survivor's guilt because he didn't die in a blaze of glory like his comrades. They're fighting in Africa over, well, Egypt essentially for the land, and they end up finding they're fighting over Hamunaptra, which is the city of the dead, and this group of magi who are basically there to protect the area so nobody finds the Book of the Dead and releases Imhotep, which is the curse upon the land. It's basically like a apocalyptic thing, and they're set there to stop them. And instead of killing everybody, they leave O'Connell alive and apparently just think, oh, the desert will claim him. But he's resilient because he's an American. We live in all of our movies. Kick ass. But she finds him in prison because her brother, Jonathan, ends up winning or stealing a box off of him in a poker game. And it has a map to Hamunaptra, which is the city of the dead. The dude burns the map, or her boss burns the map on accident, and they have to go find O'Connell, who's about to be hung, in order to actually go to the city of the dead. They save him. They go to the city of the dead. She reads from this book that she's not supposed to read from, and I love the whole entire line of no harm ever comes from reading a book, and of course it does. They end up bringing back Imhotep. Imhotep brings back the plagues of Egypt. He ends up getting back all his powers, and then O'Connell has to rescue her because he's going to kill her in order to resurrect his love interest from the past, which is a Nox on the moon. That's basically the whole entire breakdown of the movie, and they get together at the end. He rescues her, and they
Yeah.
fall in love.
I mean, it's the perfect balance of romance and action, and this movie wouldn't hold up without one or the other. I gave it a green flag rating for the romance just because it is kind of a wholesome romance in the way they fall in love. Overall, we both gave this a 5.
5
For the
each.
Yeah,
5
5
each.
each for sure. Most unrealistic probably be the
The traveling.
well. No, I don't think traveling
Not
would
the
be
traveling.
unrealistic. I think the plagues, the fact the mummies around, bringing
But I
back.
mean, to rebuttal that, I mean, if you believe in the Bible,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
magical powers from a mummy. But still, all around good movie. I don't think it would work without the explosions. I think that's a real big driving factor to the progression of the movie. It keeps you enthralled in the movie too, of what's going on. It's like, oh god, they have to fight the mummy, and that's part of the action.
go first, Dark Flowers.
I think it's like a great movie. This is one of my favorites ongoing. This is one that when it was on the list, I was like, okay, cool. This isn't one I'm going to have to pay super close attention to because I know the movie pretty well already. But it was nice to watch it from the perspective of trying to see where it ranked, based on our criteria. So I think they had great chemistry throughout. Like even in the beginning when they didn't like each other, you could tell they did kind of.
Mhm.
And it's a real love, like you can see it develop and it seems realistic in that way. Like the fact that they're together at the end isn't a surprise and it doesn't feel like unhealthy or toxic like some of the other movies we watched. So I like that part. Even the, obviously deal with the mummy coming in and all those things, but if you believe in any of the Egyptian, history or any of that, I mean, it's far-fetched, but it's not maybe because you could see, I mean, there's an awful lot I think that we don't know about Egypt and the Egyptians and what happened back then. And so, I mean, I don't know, maybe part of me just is like it might be kind of cool if stuff like that could happen. I mean, cool, but not because let's be real, it could end the world, but whatever. So I like the movie a lot. I also gave it a 5. So it's one of my standing favorites prior to even us putting it on a list. So
Yeah, and what I mentioned before is it's the only true love movie that sustained throughout the whole movie. She was kidnapped for what 5 minutes, but they went and instantly tried to get her back. So it's the most consistent love movie from beginning to end. I think just being on itself, if it was a love movie where if they would have ran into each other and it would have been like a desert love set in the 20s or 30s, I think that would have been pretty cool. To add credit to it, once again, like old movies are so good compared to newer ones where it's just constant action where people need attention all the time. It's well paced and well put together, and there's just such life to old movies compared to new ones. And that's what I like about it, where you watch it and it's hard to remove your eyes from doing something because it's just, you want to see what happens even though you've seen it before. That's all I could say about it. And I'm going to knock it down just to do it and put a 4.5.
Just so Princess Bride is almost there,
It's
4.5. So
yeah, and I did it for a reason too. And I don't think any of them are the best compared to Count of Monte Cristo, in my opinion.
and that segues to our next movie.
Count of Monte Cristo, and I'll start. I've watched this movie for the first time 3 years ago. Dark Flowers, harped on it, and I finally watched it, and I was like, "Good God, this movie is incredible." Just for a movie's sake, I think it's just so good, and that's why I had to knock The Mummy down. Is because I think the Count of Monte Cristo, just the storytelling, the acting, every actor in it is just great. Even Jacopo, the dense Latin man, just has his use, and we're talking about that too, is where he could have ended the movie right there where he said, well, why are you putting so much effort into doing this, where he like puts him back into reality, and he says, well, I could just go and bang 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 kill him,
Yeah.
and the whole thing will
Yeah,
end.
my snapper. We
Yeah.
go off the lives.
Yeah, and just the logic in that. And he's like, no, I mean, I've spent this whole time in prison. I struggled. I need to pay everyone back and let them experience what I suffered. So even like a realistic aspect, someone could, if they didn't left you unchecked in a French prison and at an island, you could definitely find your way out of it. And but just the way that the circumstances turned, and he didn't need the tunnel anymore, and he escaped the way he did, brilliant. And just the way he coordinated his revenge is pretty awesome. The way that is summed up and worked, and even at the end where it's revealed to him, and I think that's a surprise to everybody, is that was actually his son, and that's what she held on to because she thought he was dead the whole time. Was just a great aspect. So is reuniting their family, even though he knew that as his dad the whole time, and he loved him because that's all he knew. But I mean, just to sum it all up, it's just such a great story. It's kind of like Princess Bride without the ridiculousness. That's how I view it. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, that's just coming from me watching it 3 years ago. So, a 5 for me. Dark Flowers.
Yeah, I was going to say there is a correlation between this and Princess Bride in that, they both thought that their love was dead. And so they're kind of forced to move on, maybe in different ways, right? But she had to marry, his friend, not because she wanted to, but because she was pregnant. And back then you couldn't do that. So, she ran to him just to save herself and make sure that her son and her could be taken care of. And, knowing this whole time that he's dead. And then I always thought it was interesting that no one recognized him but her. He looks the same, but they all think he's dead and they don't ever question it. And she's the only one that's like, no, you're him. He's like, no, I'm not. Yeah, yeah, you are. But just that right there shows the love and everything was still very much there. Even after all those years. And when she sees him twirl his hair, she's like, yeah, you can't tell me that that's not him. But nobody else recognizes him. I mean, he even says who he is, and they're like, oh, so surprised by it because they've just all put him out of sight, out of mind, but she never did. Granted, it was probably to do with the fact that she had his son there every single day. It's kind of hard to forget somebody when you have their kid, but nobody else knew that, right? She was the only one. So I love the acting. I love, just the cast. I think the lengths that he's willing to go to avenge all of these things. And then the fact that when he finds everything out in the end, he's like, I'm willing to let it all go because I did actually get everything I wanted, by the time the story's over. So again, one of my favorite movies. I did have to really harp on him to watch it. And then he watched it. He's like, this was a good movie because he and I don't always have the same taste in movies as we can tell by some of these ratings. So
I like
it
creep
was kind of
movies.
cool to find one that we both really, and I mean, we watch this movie all the time. And it's the same. We put it on for background, and then half the time we find ourselves not doing what we were doing because we're watching the movie and we've seen it literally hundreds, if not thousands of times already, and we can still sit and watch it start to finish and enjoy every second of it. So definitely a solid 5 for me as well.
So if I could interject real quick, if you have no pictures back in those days, someone disappears for how long was it? For 20 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Resurface, you're not going to remember what people look like. If you have no visualization of what the person looked like, if I say we could just do it 1-to-1, if we lost all our pictures of Jess, we would have it on our banked in our memory. But 20 years from now, if we had no visual representation, I don't think we would exactly remember. And there's so much time, people that we encounter day to day where we know their face, but we don't see anything else that's just a solid representation. I could believe that someone could logically forget that person, and he looks totally different with the goatee and all that.
Building on that, like as even as a teacher, like I have kids that I taught in middle school that I haven't seen for 4 or 5 years. They're juniors in high school, seniors in high school, and they're coming and they're like, "Hey, Miss," and I'm like, "Who are you?"
Mhm.
Because even from sixth grade to junior in high school, there's so much change within facial features and things like that. So no, I mean, I could see without that representation of a photo where where people start to forget. For us, like, I'm a huge nerd when it comes to movies and books, and I love the novel. I have read the novel multiple times. And I feel like this film was just a great representation of what was intended by the book.
I was gonna ask that too, if anybody read the novel, Count of Monte Cristo, and now that we have somebody to read it, how close was it to the novel?
Yeah, how close was it?
Was it pretty accurate?
It's pretty accurate. Like, it is probably by far one of the most closest retellings, film to book as there is.
Like adaptations?
Yeah.
That's
Because a
cool.
lot of
That is
films,
cool.
I'll use Harry Potter because I'm a huge Harry Potter nerd, and I've read the books cover to cover multiple times. To this day, I have a hard time sitting down to watch the films because they pull so much out that's like, well, wait a minute, but you need that little nugget of information that's in the book to get to this next piece, and you completely obliterated it. So it's like a cookie cutter cut of the book. Like, we're gonna take all of these important pieces, and we're not gonna tell you how we got there because we're gonna take out all this minute details. Where the Count of Monte Cristo didn't. Like, it really is a close, accurate visualization of the novel. For me, I gave it a solid 5, just because it's a great film.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, this movie is just wonderful for me. I love this movie. Every time it comes on, I'll watch it. I even bought it and left it on like my phone because I like this movie so much. Like, there's very few movies where I think to myself like I'm gonna keep this movie all the time. If I ever want to watch it, I can watch it. I have Count of Monte Cristo. I have The 13th Warrior, and I have Treasure Island. And that was the Christian Bale one.
Mhm.
I have those three movies like on my phone permanently just because I love them that much, and they're such good movies. And I love the Count of Monte Cristo. I love the whole entire aspect of it. And like I said, I was really glad to hear that it's a really close representation. I always wanted to read the book. I just never had the time. Now I could just probably listen to it on audio if ever I want to do it, and I think I will do. I think I have it on my audio playlist. Just listen to it. But man, I love the whole story of like he had to work through it, and him talking to the priest for that many years. You know, you figure he's in prison for what 20 plus years, 20
Yeah.
about 20 years, but him sitting there talking to the priest, and the priest telling him like, "Well, what happened? Replay it in your memory. Why did he do this? Why did he get rid of the letter? Why did he burn it at that point? Oh, he's trying to protect somebody." And then it clicks on him finally that he remembers, oh, it's his son. He's protecting his father, or he's not even protecting his father. He doesn't want the scandal of his father being a separatist, basically,
Mhm.
and still working with Napoleon. And man, I love the fact that the same thing too, like the logic that he played in the whole movie as far as like the way he planned it all out, and then even like saving Jacopo and the way he told the captain like all this stuff about how, look, man, he suffered enough. He fought and lost. The men who liked him are happy that he didn't die if I don't kill him. If I do kill him, you'll be gone two people instead of just the one. And the fact that you keep both of us alive, you'll have two capable people in your crew. And everybody will be satisfied. And the captain thought about that's pretty logical. Okay, now I have two fighters. Awesome. And then I love the whole entire just the way he used them. Like he said, like goes to him like, I'm gonna ask you a favor later on in my life. You know, I hope you come to help me. And yeah, he used that pirate twice, once to kidnap and then once to basically smuggle that money in. And just the way he used Jacopo as far as like, yeah, you're gonna say this specifically. And Jacopo's not an idiot. Like he kind of like people think he is, like would think that he would be, but he's not. The way he's doing it, like he didn't understand the whole entire sake of or the whole entire deal of revenge. Of like they must suffer as I have suffered. It's too easy if we just kill them. No, they're gonna do this, and then you kind of realize, like, okay, like I'll go with your plan. Even him trying to like get his woman back for him. It's like I set this up so you can just take her. Let's go. Let's leave. We don't have to kill this. We don't have to do this stuff. Let's just go live happily. He was even trying to break him from his revenge, and he was not having it. And I like the fact that even at towards the end where he find out he had a son and everything, he just wants to end it. with Mondego, it's like, I don't want to fight anymore. You can have this gold too. I don't care. Just get the hell away from me. I have the woman I love. I have a son. It all is basically like kind of forgiven. But the fact that the soul just arrogant. That guy could have left and he'd have been fine. But the fact that he was just so arrogant that he couldn't live in a world where he had nothing and Dantes had everything.
Yeah.
It just shows you the spoiled rich kid aspect of it. It's like, yeah, they're never happy. It doesn't matter how much money you have. You're not happy unless you have something that the other person doesn't.
Even when the last words he spoke was perfection, where Dantes, what does he ask him? He says, "I thought you were a saint," when he's dying. He
Yes.
says, I'm a count, not a
I'm
not
a
saint."
count, not a saint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Yeah, excellent. 5 out of 5 for us. And same thing. So this movie is top of our list, and it's one of those ones where if you wouldn't have picked it, we would have picked it, or I would have picked it.
Yeah.
I love this movie. I
Probably,
saw
I mean, it descends just action romance. It's probably the greatest movie of all time. Want to give a final rundown of all the scores tallied?
Okay, so all the scores tallied. We're going to go from the least liked one to the most. The worst one, Hitman's Bodyguard, with a score of 2. Romeo and Juliet, score of 2.5. This Means War, the score of 6. Oh, I missed one. Scott Pilgrim's before Point Break, because with a 2.8. Point Break with a 3, 3.1 for Gross Point Blank, 3.6 for The Bodyguard. Then we got our last ones. The Princess Bride, 4.7. The Mummy with a 4.8. Then Count of Monte Cristo with a solid 5 out of 5.
Perfect. I think that's a pretty good assessment we did.
Yeah.
So, if you're looking to watch a movie on Valentine's Day, Count of Monte Cristo, and Princess Bride and the Mummy, and burn the rest.
Yeah, the rest
Yeah.
of them, no. The rest of them we can just throw in the trash. Those three movies alone would be the best movies to watch probably for Valentine's Day. There's probably better ones out there. We just didn't watch them.
Yeah, just the ones we picked. So,
Yeah.
if you don't like our picks, fuck you. But I think we could leave it right there. And thank you everybody for watching Villains and Creeps.
Yes. You have a good one.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.